What do we mean when we say we pay respect to the Buddha, we pay homage to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha? What does it mean to pay homage to the Buddha, to seek refuge in the Buddha?
To take refuge in the Buddha. What do we mean by taking refuge in the Buddha?
Yes, or paying respect to the Buddha.
Pay respect to the Buddha?
Yes.
Yeah. As the Buddha himself mentioned, the best way to respect the Buddha is to follow his instructions very sincerely, diligently, with the intention of attaining liberation from suffering. And the Buddha was so compassionate that he said, if we want to respect him, we must follow his advice and liberate ourselves from suffering. You know, this is a very compassionate advice. If we want to respect him, we follow the Dhamma and liberate ourselves from suffering. By our liberation from suffering, Buddha does not gain anything. But we liberate ourselves. Buddha was compassionate that we wanted us to follow his Dhamma. Okay?
Yes, Bhante. The next question is, Bhante, you mentioned the other day in one of your talks that piti arises in degrees. Is it also the same for developing metta? Does metta also arise in degrees?
Could you repeat it again?
Yes. The question is about that you mentioned the other day that piti arises in degrees, in various degrees. Is it also the same for developing metta? That metta also arises in degrees?
When metta arises from what?
Metta arises in various degrees. So it increases, it gets further developed with the practice. It arises in degrees. You have different degrees of mettas. Is that the case?
Greed for metta?
Degrees, different levels of metta. Do you have different levels of metta? Like yeah.
Oh, yes. Metta has degrees. If you practice it superficially, it has a low effect. If you practice this in a higher stage, then it has a greater benefit. That is without following instructions of practicing metta. When you practice metta, you have to be completely devoted to the practice. You cannot have conditions. It's like, it's not like if you scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of principle. You must, without expecting anything in return, without having any discrimination, you cannot say, I love metta to everybody but that guy. You cannot say that. When you practice metta, you have no boundaries, no limitations, no selfishness. selflessly, boundlessly, without limit. You practice metta for all beings, on human, divine, Brahma, animal, even the beings in health, and so forth, without any discrimination. You just have to think that there are living beings in the whole universe. We don't know whether these astronomers find life in other planets and so forth. We don't care for that. But we believe that this universe is full of living beings. And when we practice metta, we have to share our metta with all beings. All beings. It doesn't matter, irrespective of their size, appearance, and so on. That way, you practice metta in superlative degree, in the highest degree, then you have the highest benefit. And also metta practice, you also overcome your wrong views, wrong beliefs. Dittincha anupagamma, without having any wrong view. And also you have to have practice, you have to have moral principles, practicing morality. At the beginning of Metta discourse, Buddha has given 15 qualities for the Metta practitioners to cultivate within themselves, and they must be qualified to practice metta. And with these qualifications, when they practice metta without any wrong views, they can even attain liberation. Gabbameta punareti, that is the last sentence. The person will not even return to human or any birth. That means attain full enlightenment if he follows the metta in the way described in the Metta Sutta discourse. Okay?
Thank you, Bhante. The next question is, could one practice vipassana along with the first jhana?
I get stuck and blank. What do I do? Then I proceed, please, Bhante.
She asked one question, now I'm going to answer that.
Here also question.
You have a chat box?
Yes.
What is the question?
When I do Anapanasati Bhavana, I get stuck. What do I do?
Okay, when you practice Anapanasati, if you get stuck, then you have to see what made you get stuck. What is the problem? You must identify the problem and solve the problem in order to get rid of this problem of getting stuck. What do you mean by getting stuck? You must tell me a little more about it so that we can give some answers. Hello?
Yes, Bhante.
Yeah? Any other question?
Yes, Bhante. The next question I was just reading is if one could practice vipassana along with the first jhana.
Okay. One can practice vipassana along with the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and so on. There is a very beautiful discourse where 11 ways of attaining enlightenment given in one discourse called Attaka Nagara Sutta, delivered by Venerable Ananda, answering questions posed to him by a man called Dasama. Dasama asked Venerable Ananda, can you tell me one way of attaining liberation? Venerable Ananda said, first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and so on, up to 7, up to neither perception nor non-perception. And he said, practicing impurities of the body and so on. So he gave 11 steps. One of them is the attaining first jhana. After attaining first jhana, the meditator reflect on the impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness of each jhanic practice. That way, one can attain arahanthood. Yeah?
Yes, thank you, Bhante. The next question is some advice for somebody that is new to the practice. Which one of the Nikayas do you recommend to start reading? The Digha Nikaya, Majjhima, Anguttara, Samyutta? Which one of these groups of suttas do you recommend to start reading?
Okay. I recommend starting with Anguttara Nikaya. The question is, what text a beginner should start with to learn Dhamma and meditation and so on, especially to learn Buddha teaching. So I recommend a beginner to read Anguttara Nikaya because it's a very short, simple paragraph, sentences in Anguttara Nikaya. Therefore, I think it will be better for the person to start with that.
Thank you, Bhante. The next question is, how should one practice the 4 Iddhipadas, the basis of spiritual success, the Iddhipadas?
How one practice Iddhipada?
Yes, how to practice those.
There are 4 Iddhipadas, Chanda, Chitta, Virya, Vimansa. That is, first one must have a desire to attain jhanas. That is, Chanda, Samadhi, Sankara, Iddhipadam Bhaveti. The first one must have a desire to gain jhana. And Sankara is the conditions or attributes in the jhana. And then he uses these jhanic factors as object of his meditation to gain insight. So the first one must have a desire to do that. With that desire, he uses anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, and then gain concentration, then gain first jhana, second, third, and so forth. And then, as I mentioned earlier, take each of the jhanic factors to see impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness. And you must understand that this is not I, this is not myself, this is not mine, netang mama nesu amasina mesu atta, and so on. And this is vipassana training, vipassana practice. And then that person can attain enlightenment. So first he used the desire. Then determination, chitta, also the same thing with the determination attain jhanas, and use jhanic factors to focus mind on impermanence and so on. Then virya, effort, also uses to gain concentration. As you know, Virya has 4 stages in according to what we call this Noble Eightfold Path. And then Vimansa, investigation. Investigation is one of the factors of enlightenment. When we do investigation, also we gain concentration and use those factors to see impermanence and so on to attain Arahanthood. This is how this Iddhipada I use for attaining liberation. All the Buddhas in the past practice Iddhipada to attain enlightenment. All the enlightened person today in this world have to practice Iddhipada. All those who will attain enlightenment in future must practice Iddhipada to attain enlightenment. And in addition to that, in addition to attaining enlightenment, they also gain some additional powers, what you call Iddhi, superhuman, supernatural powers. And the way Buddha explained them in Samyutta Nikaya, Buddha was able to make his body so light that there is a particular discourse called Ayogula Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya, where he mentioned how his mind and body merge together to lose weight. The gravity doesn't work at that time. And then he was able to travel in the air. So that's how it works. Okay, another question.
Yes, the other question, Bhante, has to do with the 13th step in the Anapanasati Sutta, when we talk about realizing impermanence. The question is, does this happen automatically during meditation, or does one have to direct the mind to an object in order to see impermanence?
Well,
do you have to focus to direct the mind on a specific object in order to see impermanence in meditation, or does this happen automatically?
Yes, the question is when we practice Anapana, whether Chaturi, I am repeating the question for others to hear.
Yes.
There are some monastics and lay people assembled here for the retreat, and I want to repeat. I use this headphone, otherwise I cannot hear very well. If you remove this headphone so that I don't have to repeat the question. Okay. You can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you, Bhante.
Chaturi?
Yes. Can you hear me? Yes.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. That's right. When you ask the question, now everybody can hear your question.
Okay. So should I repeat the question? The question is about the Anapanasati Sutta and realizing impermanence. Does it happen automatically during meditation, or does one have to direct the mind to an object in order to see impermanence?
Yes, in order to see impermanence, you can use Anapana itself. At the end of Anapanasati, the Anapana has 4 tetrads. Last tetrad deals with impermanence. Aniccanupasya Sasiswami Sikkati, Aniccanupasya Pasiswami Sikkati, and so on. There are we become mindful of impermanence of the body, feeling, perceptions, volitional formations, and consciousness, meaning becoming aware of impermanence of the 5 aggregates while breathing in and out. Actually, when we breathe in and out, paying total attention to the breath, we experience gradually when the mind becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful and concentrated. At that state of mind, we experience the entire body, not only breath body, but entire body, in and out, vibrating, changing, appearing, disappearing, moving, we experience. Then we become aware of impermanence. And then also we experience very beautiful moments which disappears very quickly, giving us awareness of dukkha, suffering. And then we, of course, when these two combine together, we see that there is nothing called self, anything permanent. When we see everything is permanent, notion of self vanishes from our mind. This is how this impermanent unsatisfactoriness we can see while we are breathing. We can see them happening not only in the breath, but also in the physical body. Breath itself is a body, as Buddha said. And breath is made up of elements, very tiny, little, minute 4 major elements. And they are always changing. Element you cannot see, although we see big objects made up of these elements, but the elements themselves you cannot see. But you can experience elements like hardness of earth element and cohesion of water element, radiation of fire elements, motion of air elements. But we cannot see them. So these things are happening while we are breathing in and out. And therefore we can become aware of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness. All of them. We don't have to stop our breathing and introduce new subject to become aware of these 3 universal characteristics of all existing things. Okay?
Yes, there is a second part of this question, Bhante. Do you experience all of the 8 jhanas as well when you go through the steps of the Anapanasati? Do you experience all 8 jhanas, material and immaterial, when you go through all the steps of the Anapanasati Sutta?
Yes. According to discourses, you experience all these jhanas without any difficulty. That is very clearly stated in Anupada Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 111, when the Sariputta attained all these states, and he experienced all of them, he classified them, and he saw them arising and vanishing, and one by one. And therefore, anybody has a very keen insight can experience them, because they are happening while we are in meditation, in breathing meditation, mindfulness of breathing. Yeah?
Yes. The next question is, do the following steps, Nibbida, Viraga, Patisigniga, follow automatically? Do the last steps happen automatically in the practice?
Yes. You don't have to make a separate practice. This naturally glides into the flow into the practice. Yes.
Let me see. How is it that by truly seeing impermanence, we have the ability to truly develop metta? How? Yeah, I'll follow that. Yeah.
Yes, impermanence also is a good tool to arouse our metta. How it happens? We see while I am changing, I mentioned it in our talks, in one of my talks here. There is in Satipatthana Sutta, there is a passage, Samudaya Dhammanupasiva Kayasmin Virati, Vaya Dhammanupasiva Kayasmin Virati, Samudaya Dhammanupasiva Kayasmin Virati. We breathe in or practice seeing rising, seeing falling, and seeing rising and falling. That happen to me, and while that is happening to me, it happens to others also at the same time, simultaneously. And then we understand that we all are one. All are one. There is no difference. Similarly, while I am suffering, everybody is suffering. We must understand the 5 aggregates are suffering. Buddha said, in short, 5 aggregates is aggregates of suffering. So long as I have 5 aggregates of suffering, I suffer. Similarly, whoever has aggregates has suffering. So while I'm suffering, they are suffering. Therefore, I practice metta for them to get rid of their suffering and be free from suffering. And therefore, with metta, knowing the unification or unity of all living beings is a very good reason for us to practice metta, because we all are suffering and we all need to be free from suffering. And therefore, when we know this quite well, metta practice becomes universal, and it will be easier for us to practice metta. Okay?
Yes, and on the other hand, if we don't really see impermanence in everything, if we don't have a very deep grasp of impermanence in everything, can we still practice metta? In this case, our metta would be more limited, but how do we still practice it even though we don't see yet impermanence in everything?
You don't have to see impermanence to practice metta. You don't have to see, you don't have to make a special effort to see impermanence. It is happening all the time, and we know that it is happening all the time, and therefore there is no question or doubt about it. Whether you know or do not know, impermanence is taking place in you. And one who practices metta must understand that and practice metta. By the way, Chaturi, could you hold your question for a minute? I like to ask our other monastic and so forth who have been attending the retreat, whether they have any question. Yeah.
Bhante, can you little bit explain the Dasana Vijnana Ananta Sutopava?
Okay. Here is a question which is very technical. He asked me to explain what Anidasana Vijnana is. That is in consciousness without any sign, any mark. That is the question. That is the sort of a request to, you made a statement, asking me to ask the question to explain what Anidasana Vijnana means. With consciousness without any mark or sign to become aware of. It is when you, my answer is, suppose you bring paint and paintbrush and want to draw pictures in the sky, in the air. Can you draw it? Why is that? In the air, in the sky, there is no any sign, place, mark, object to draw the picture. Similarly, pure consciousness without any contents in it is called Anidasana Vijnana. That is the consciousness of an enlightened person. That consciousness doesn't have anything to put your finger on, nothing. But it exists. Until the person passes away, then purest state of consciousness exists. That is called Anidasana Vijnana. Okay? Yes.
I've got a related question. So, is it we have the consciousness and perception of no buying objects?
Consciousness
Without buying objects?
without mind object. And the next question is there consciousness without mind object? That is the consciousness I just mentioned. That consciousness does not have any mind object. Okay?
Same. So, is this related to the seventh chant?
Related to what?
The seventh chant? The seventh chant.
Is it related to the seventh jhana? Neither perception nor perception.
Neither perception, 8 jhana. No, it is not related to that. Question is it related to the Akinchana, 7 jhana? Among, they are called bases, not jhanas. The base of neither perception, no, base of nothingness. Base of nothingness, the question is this Anidasana Vijnana related to base of nothingness attainment? No. Base of nothingness attainment is still mundane. Base of nothingness state is mundane. Anidasana Vijnana is supramundane, pure mundane. Therefore, these are two different states. Anybody can attain a state of base of nothingness. Akinchanya. One doesn't have to attain enlightenment. But Anidasana Vijnana you can have only when you attain full enlightenment. Yeah.
But is there a difference between apatitisa vijnana?
Apatitisa vijnana.
Same.
Yeah. Apatitisa vijnana is unestablished. There is no place to establish. Yeah.
Because the Arahant does not give into anything, and by means of craving, conceit, and
Yeah.
he
Okay. Anything else? Okay, Chakuri, if you have any other question?
Let me quickly check the chat. I don't see any other questions in the chat right now, Bhante.
You don't have any?
Not in the chat. No, we don't have any additional questions.
Okay. Hmm?
No more questions in the chat.
Then we can end the session because it is time for us to have our Buddha Puja and so on. So we had very, in my view, we had a very successful retreat. I believe that everybody got a lot of information, Dhamma. It is quite enriching retreat. Therefore, we must say we are very successful in this retreat. So, we must thank especially Bhante Dharmagaru for coming all the way from California to lead the retreat, give so many Dhamma talks, have Dhamma discussions. And also we must thank Bhante Sadhaji who organized it, contacted all these venerable monks and arranged everything. And everybody else who participated and cooperated and helped us to conduct this retreat in a cordial, friendly way. And therefore we must thank everybody and people who prepared lunch and brought lunch from various places. We must thank them. And finally, we want to share merits with everyone, and may you all attain Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Chaturi. Normally we share metta with everybody, and I have a special way of expressing it. May all those who are suffering in hospitals from various diseases taken care of by very compassionate doctors, nurses, and hospital staff, may they recover very soon and return to normal life and continue their Dhamma practice and liberate from samsaric suffering. May all the doctors and nurses and hospital staff who help these people out of compassion, sacrificing their comfort, risking their own life, dedicated their energy to take care of these people. May they continue their wonderful service and continue their Dhamma practice and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May those who are in trouble spots in various places, war zones, poverty-stricken areas, disease-stricken areas, and people who are going through various kinds of discriminations, May they all find peace, solace, and comfort, and find way to practice Dhamma and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. May those whose categories I have not mentioned, may all beings in large practice Dhamma, gain insight and wisdom, and attain liberation. All the leaders in the world will make decisions for the benefit of the world, may have insight, wisdom to make correct decisions to bring peace and happiness to the whole world. May they all, everyone, all living beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May they all attain Nibbana. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Thank you, Chaturi.
You're welcome, Bhante.
Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.